What's going on, guys? Kaiger here. In my last video I talked about which tank is the best in the game. I got a lot of good reaction from you all asking for more. Today we're going to talk about priests. Let's get into it. Alright guys, something I found kind of interesting is for priests, there were only 2 SSR priests. One blue, one red, no green. But there are 5 SR ones with 2 green, so it kind of makes up for it, right? So we're going to go through the abilities, talk about what they work with, and then also talk about their arc lights and then the generic ones afterwards. And at the very end, I'll tell you which ones I think are the best. So right here, we're starting with Renner, basic attack, damage based on attack and HP. So a healer that does damage based on HP is very, very good. Your heals are normally based on HP, so turning your HP into more damage is very, very good. And then when you rank her up a bit, you will have 50% chance to inflict attack down, which is pretty good for a basic, especially with the amount of damage. Royal Bloom is the passive. Purifies 2 debuffs at the start of turn. If you successfully purify something, increase the healing of Royal Bloom by 20%. So gets rid of debuffs from herself, and if she gets rid of a debuff, increases the healing of this passive. Converts 50% of excess healing to shield for 2 rounds. This is very, very powerful. We'll talk about the combo once we get to the next skill. Purify 2, increase healing. Heals ally with the lowest HP for 7.2% max HP, scales to 9.6 before action, and then gives a regeneration for 1 turn, which is extra healing. So very good. And then remember, if she does get rid of any debuffs, then she makes this 9.6 plus 20%. And remember, any healing past their max HP turns into a shield. One of the best things you can do as a healer. In a lot of situations, people will, if they do some AoE or if they go after one person, the issue with healer is you can't really preemptively heal. In her case, you can. You heal before the damage, which turns into a shield. And then her special is what really pulls it together here, and then her ultimate is just awesome. Heals the target for 30% max HP, gives them regeneration, which as we see, they recover 5% of their max HP for each hit token, so each tick, and then removes after triggering 4 times for 2 rounds right here. And then also convert 50% of the excess healing to shield for 2 turns. So at the beginning of the match, you can choose between this special or your ultimate, which I'll talk about in a second. And I like to start with Royal Grace. It has the 1 turn cooldown. You can Royal Grace your big person that they're going to want to target. Or if you have a tank that has sharing, where they take a percent of damage, you could also put it on your tank so it's funneling damage regardless. And then you can use the ultimate next turn, and then when it comes back to you, you're ready for Royal Grace again with no downtime. You Shall Triumph being the ultimate with a 5 turn cooldown. gets -1 down here, so 4. Heals the entire team, as we see. 24% max HP. Gives everyone 25% turn meter, which is huge. 50% chance to do crit boost. So for the main target, they will get a crit boost, and then 50% chance to give everyone else a crit boost as well. 50% of excess healing and 2 shields. That's kind of her thing. So you can start with this if you would like to start the match with this. If you're worried about speed ties, you get this boost and the 25% turn meter for the target. And then you're able to beat those speed ties, as well as giving everyone a shield even though they're at full HP, as well as the crit boost, which is very, very powerful. Talking about her Arclight card, her specific effect is increases the amount of healing dealt to targets with under 50% HP. This at max is under 70% by 20%, or at max 40%, and purifies 1 debuff. This is no cooldown, very, very good. And then this bottom part is on all of the specific SSR cards. Enhance healing effect by 10%, max level 20%. So very good. And as I said before, you're getting HP percent from the card, which scales obviously with your basic that does damage based on HP. Now for the second SSR priest, now he's going to look like mostly a buffer and a stripper. He strips buffs and he buffs your team, but his captain skill here, which he's the only priest with a captain skill, for each buff on Pandora, increase the entire team healing and damage by 2.5% up to 15%. So 6, what is that? Yeah, with 6 buffs, everyone gets 15% extra healing and damage, and then whenever he gives buffs to people, he heals them as well. So you have to decide if you want to take his captain skill or whatever your other options are. But there aren't a lot right now in the game, so it is a good selling point to have a captain skill. Basic deals damage, 50% attack, and then restores HP of the ally with the lowest HP by 75% of attack. Now you're not really going to build a lot of attack because this is your healer and your buffer, but having that passive heal from your basic is really nice. And remember, this is going to deal more damage because of the captain skill, damage and healing. So it's not going to increase the basic healing because of the damage boost, but it also increases all healing. So it'll increase the heal from the basic attack because it's also a heal. Then we have the passive. This one is so much going on. 55%. So there's going to be 2 numbers here. 85% chance of copying a random buff. No. It's worded weird. Okay. Of copying 1 random buff in battle before action, scaling to 100% chance. At max, you copy 2, and fixes the duration at 2 rounds. Regardless of what the round duration of whatever you're stealing is, it becomes 2 rounds on him. Gains a random buff if there are no available buffs in battle. Prioritizes buffs he doesn't have. The random buffs can be either attack boost, defense boost, speed up, or recover. Recover is the one we haven't been over yet. A buff that allows the target to regain 6% HP before action. So pretty close to regeneration, which regeneration is when you're hit, you heal. This is at the beginning of your turn, you heal. Ideally, you would get the speed up, but if you're able to get attack boost and defense boost on yourself from other means, he will get either speed up or recover. And at max, if they have no buffs, you get a random on this table, so you'll get speed up and recover. Then we have the special. This is the one that's kind of weird, I think. Grants a random buff, prioritizing ones he doesn't have, to the ally with the highest attack, prioritizing characters other than himself, based on the number of buffs he has. Oh, this is the one. Yeah. Picks between attack boost, defense boost, speed up, and recover, which is the one we talked about if he has less than 3. Crit based ones and damage taken down if he has 3 to 5 buffs on him. And then if he has more than 5, these are buffs that aren't really in the game. High tier speed up is massive. So you have to think about that. And these are different names, so they can be on top of... You can have high tier attack boost and attack boost at the same time. Phantom Blitz purifies 2 debuffs from the target before granting a random buff. Grants 1 extra random buff if there is no debuff to purify. This goes to 2 and 1. Oh, and down here, it lowers the numbers from this to 2, fewer than 2, 2 to 4, and more than 4 at max. And then here it adds lifesteal to 3 to 5, which would be 2 to 4. And invincible to more than 5, which is no damage at all. Then the ultimate, which I had to take 2 screenshots because there was too much to put in. Deals damage 120% attack. Hitting grants 60% chance of transferring 2 buffs from the target to a random ally, except buffs that can't be dispelled. Grants 2 buffs, random buffs instead if there's no buffs to take. So you take 2 of theirs, give it to your ally with the highest attack, prioritizing people other than him. And if they have nothing, you give 2 random from our normal pool. Restores HP of 3 allies with the lowest HP by 60% attack. Remember, this is going to be increased based on the passive, based on the amount of buffs you have, up to 6. Heal 1 extra ally if he has more than 3 buffs, so that will be the entire team, him included. And the additional effects, he also gains the buffs transferred, which is a big deal, from starring him up to 4 stars. Remember, you unlock them at 3, and to get them from 3 to 4, you need 2 extra copies, or do the dispatch missions to get enough shards, which is what I would suggest. This is the most important one right here, is at 4 star. The receiver of the buffs is designated ally with the highest attack, and the number of buffs transferred is 4. So instead of transferring 2, you transfer 4. 100% chance, transfer 2 to random. More damage, more heal, more damage, more heal. Down to 4 turns. And then his special card, look at the... when Pandora actor inflicts a buff on allies, restore HP equal to 35% or 70 of his attack for them. And you have the normal healing increase. So as you give buffs to your team, they get heals. This card, he works pretty well on his own, but his healing is kind of low on his own. But his special and ultimate really, with the card, really allow him to chug along. This is a big part of him working right. Then everything else is going to be what everyone can get. And there are some good options. There are some high-end meta characters here as well. We have Enri, basic damage based on HP. We've already talked about that. Really great to have. Special, I had to put into 2 because there's so much with it. Please, Goblin, beginning of your turn, she has a chance to do before action to summon one of the 3 goblins, and it's every other turn. Woogie gives attack boost to all allies. Dino heals the ally with the lowest HP, and Carno deals damage and stuns. Enri restores 20% more HP to the target with less than 40% HP. This is just an extra passive part. Now the bonuses, 10% more HP, 20% more HP if they're under 40. These aren't hugely important, but she's an SR, so you can get them pretty easily. Carno gains 100% chances. Oh, man, fuck. Carno, Dino heal, summon a goblin. So at level 5 of the skill, you will always summon the goblin every other turn. Then we have her special. Heals the target for 30% HP. Grants recover, which is gain 6% HP before a turn. Scales up to 30% HP. And ER boost, which is resistance. Up to increases ER by 45%. We will the cooldown 1 round, so you can do this every other turn. We will make it. Heals the target 24%. 3 round, it's 2 with this. And gives damage taken down for 2 rounds to all allies, which is very, very powerful, which is 20% less damage. And then her card. Being attacked grants a 40%, this doubles to 80%, to trigger random golem support once per round. Now, this is actually super important for her, because you can, at this point, you have 1 goblin every other turn from the passive. This gives you an additional goblin every turn if you're taking damage. Everyone's doing AoE stuff right now, so this is a good chance it's going to happen with an 80% chance. And the bonus from SR cards is 6% double to 12 instead of 10 double to 20. So Enri is very good. Then we have Khajit, which is also one that sees high-end PvP play right now. Just damage based on attack. A high percent of attack, mind you. And the passive is a big deal. Hit target. When you hit a target, you inflict healing down. So that reduces their healing by 50%. When you hit a target, 50% chance. Oh, this is the bonus. And then all this is the stuff above that, but bonus effects of it. Yeah, this is what I was thinking about before. When you hit a target, 80% chance to affect bleed, burn, and shock for 2 turns, prioritizing the one that's already on them. When hit by attacks, Khajit has a 100% chance to inflict the same thing, prioritizing the one they already have. So he is just racking up the damage, and also healing down, so they can't really heal out of it unless they have a Purify before. But you're also putting these effects on them, so they would need at least a Purified 2 before to get the full heal. He's really the anti-heal healer, and you'll see that with Negative Laser. Remember, Negative Laser is going to get all the effects of Cry of Death, and the ultimate and the card are also going to as well. Negative Laser. If you can target enemies or allies with this. If you target an enemy, deal 130% attack plus an extra damage of the target's remaining shield. equal to 75% of target's remaining shield. If they still have shield, it does more damage. To allies, restore HP for 180% of attack. So he's actually... It's a funny thing because most healers heal based on HP. He heals based on attack. When healing himself, increase the healing by 25%. Then we have... And remember, if you targeted an enemy, you're going to give them 50% chance heal down, as well as 100% chance bleed, shock, or burn. Then the ultimate AoE, which remember is going to do 50% anti-heal, 100% chance those other effects. 60% chance to inflict attack down, defense down, and speed down for 2 turns. Each one has its own roll. It's not 60% chance all or nothing. It's 60% chance attack down, 60% chance defense down, 60% chance speed down. Each debuff inflicted additionally reduces the target's max HP by 10% for 2 rounds and is indisplaceable. They can't get rid of it. And minus 1 turn. So with the 2-turn cooldown, 1 turn, 2 turns, when it comes back to you for your 3rd turn, you're casting again. So they're effectively permanently down 10% max HP. Then we have his card. When using negative laser to deal damage / heal, deal 25% or 50 of the damage to another target in the same team. So it's either a double heal or double damage. And notice, instead of HP percent, he gets attack percent. And it also triggers Cry of Death on the other enemy if you target enemies. Very interesting setup there. So we got 3 more to go. I'm not even going to try to pronounce her name. Launches a 2-hit attack, deals damage, and then based on HP, but it's a 2-hit, so that can be important against some bosses. 5% HP, which is good. Heal passive. Each heal skill use has a 75% chance, 100% chance to additionally heal 2 allies with the lowest HP for 8.4% of her max HP. And when you trigger this, additionally grant 1 stack of block debuff for 2 rounds, which is literally just the next debuff is blocked, as long as it happens within the next 2 rounds. It's funny, she's like a funny thing against what we just read. Then we have her special. 2 rounds, 1 round, so every other turn. Heal target for 30% of max HP. After healing, gives speed up to the target for 2 rounds, which is 20% speed, which is pretty good. She kind of wants to be a Renner, just a little bit worse, and doesn't turn her healing into shield. If she turned her healing into shield, she would be fighting the other top SRs for their spot. Restore HP for 24% of max HP. After healing, purify a debuff. After healing, grants recover and ER boost to the target for 2 rounds. Remember, ER is effect resistance, and recover is 6% max HP at the beginning of their turn. Then we have her card, increases the healing effect by 10 or 20%, and adds an additional target when the next healing triggers regeneration after successfully using all greater heal. So after you do the AoE heal, your next big heal from regeneration heals an extra target. So Sorry, increases the next regeneration by 20%. So now we have one more, and that's going to be Nphirea. Attack and HP, so off to a good start. Passive is really good. 100% chance to, on your action, grant one random debuff. Sorry. One random debuff. One random buff. I'm reading them wrong. So it scales up to 100% chance of a random buff to one random ally other than themselves for 2 turns. Random buff can be attack up, defense up, speed up, crit damage up, which is an interesting one to have here. Advantage, so before the battle starts, gives 1 buff to all allies. And once you get the ability to level 5, gives it to 2 allies other than themselves. So you don't have to worry about the crit up or crit damage up landing on you. It's going to be a 2 of your 3 allies, which is really good. Special 2-round cooldown. Heals all allies. What? Right here says heal all. Heals the target for 20.5% of max HP. After healing, purify 2 debuffs. After healing, grants defense boost to the target for 2 turns. Pretty good. Heal. Get rid of debuffs. Defense up. Pretty good. Ultimate. Enhances a single ally with alchemy. You're literally just juicing someone. Heals the target for 36% of max HP. This is a great one. The target gains 50% turn meter. And if they're already at 100, gives them damage boost, which is a 30% damage boost for 2 turns. -1 skill cooldown, so every 3rd turn you can be arcane booning someone on top of, remember, you're giving them crit boost or crit damage boost or attack boost. Or even speed boost, so they're over 100, so you can get that bonus. And then their card is funny. Reduces the cooldown of a random skill of the target by 1 round and increases the turn meter by an extra 5%. I took an extra screenshot because this doesn't follow the same rule. It's normally double. Here it's triple. 15%. So reducing, if it's a unit that's just doing a big AoE with a 1-turn cooldown, they do AoE with that arcane boon, they can immediately do another AoE. And then you're giving them 65% speed bar. They are effectively next. Last but not least, let's talk about the generic cards. We have 3 SSRs and 2 SRs. Comrades, upon entering battle, reduces 12.5 or 25% at max. Damage dealt by enemies for the first 3 attacks during the next 2 rounds. So it's only the next 3 attacks, not the next 2 rounds, whichever happens first. Aura's Lunch. I thought this was Aura's card, but it's not. Enhances healing by 7.5 or 15%, and grants healing received boost to the primary target for 2 turns. So it makes them recover more from all healing sources. Then we have 500 million gold. Gains a 60%, and this goes up to 100% after using ultimate to purify 1 random debuff from an ally. One can only be triggered twice. Ignore this one. Actual dog trash. Funeral and Karn Village. Each ally with HP under 30% gets a 10% or 20% speed boost. This is a nice one to have in a clutch. and it's an SR one, so you can max it decently easy. All appraisal magic item, 7.5 or 15% healing. This is effectively just what everyone already gets. So obviously you should use whatever their card is, but if you don't have access to their card, Funeral at Karn Village is a great stand-in with this extra 20% speed boost. Comrades I would skip unless it's a very front-heavy team specifically that you're worried about. And Aura's Lunch is just passively really good. As far as the ones up here to really care about, Renner is all about heals that turn into shields, which counts as a buff for other things, and then boosts turn meter, as well as, where's it at? Crit boost to all allies, which is massive. I'm using her and my one rotation teams. Very similar if you're familiar with Honkai Star Rail. This would be, what's her name? The girl with the rifle that gives them the turn next and gives them crit. It's really, really close. But Renner is my go-to for an offensive healer, SSR offensive healer, that also can do preemptive heals with Royal Grace. Then we have Pandora's Actor, which their main thing here is they have a captain skill that gives everyone damage, and then your stripping buffs, which can be very big against some bosses, that their whole mechanic is their buffs. So Pandora's Actor can strip these buffs, which is very, very good. They have some passive healing, but their healing doesn't really come into play until you have their card. And that's not to say that they don't heal. 72% of attack plus 15% is okay, but it goes into hyperdrive with the card. But this is a one that you're always going to want to have in your back pocket in case certain mechanics require it, or if you have particular allies that like having a bunch of buffs. Generally, a lot of the assassin types like to have a bunch of buffs. Then we have Enri. If you just want to have one healer and then not worry about it ever again, Enri is your girl. Enri, and you get her card, you're chunking along. Even top level PvP players are using Enri, because if you just jump out and hit them with a Carno, 100% fixed chance stun, so their effect resistance does not matter. Just you're stunned, or Woogie that gives everyone attack boost. You're about to go off on your first turn, and then the card, they hit you, trigger, get Goblin, and then you have Carno stun the next guy. Their entire plan is ruined. Enri is great. She doesn't excel at one thing. She's just general purpose Swiss Army knife healer. And then Khajit is your anti-heal. If everyone has a bunch of healing, you have people running healers obviously on their team. Some tanks heal. You have the vampire chick that heals. I'm blanking on names right this second. Shaltir, she heals herself. This just, every time he hits someone, 50% chance, all your healing is halved. And then he's just throwing it around. And whenever he's hit, he's putting it on them. He also slots really nice into an aggressive. Any of the three types, bleed, shock, or burn, because it prioritizes whichever one they already have. So if you're doing a bleed team with Coyotes, every time they hit Khajit, they're getting another bleed stack, which is increased by Coyotes. Last but not least is Nphirea. Is good, primarily because of the ultimate and the card. But this is every 3 turns. Whereas I would much rather have an Enri or Khajit as my SRs, either offensive or Swiss Army knife, or even Nphirea wants to really be a Renner, which is my personal favorite. Let me know what you guys think down below. Till next time, guys.